Hi, BookTube. It's Gina. How are you? It's been a while. I have not been reading very much because I've been on vacation. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm on vacation, I find it very difficult to read. Um, I think I've talked to you since I was in Palm Springs. So last month I went to Palm Springs, visited an old high school friend, and I bought this book at Barnes and Noble there, All Passion Spent by Vita Sackville-West in this beautiful, beautiful edition. Is this a vintage edition? And my plan was to read it while I was there because I was running around a little bit during the day, but I was also doing pool time and relaxing. But no, I didn't. I read a few pages of this and then the same thing. So I went to Las Vegas and I just got back on Friday and I read this. I took this to read Star Trek Legacy by Michael Jan Friedman. And I picked it up and read a couple pages, and that was it. I barely read. And we were literally sitting by the pool all day from 9 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. But I was relaxing, I was swimming, I was drinking and eating and visiting with my sisters, and it was such a relaxing Vegas trip, you guys. We were there for a week, which people are like, how can you go to Vegas for a week? But because we just relax, it's like a resort beach vacation practically. Went back to the room, showered, went out for dinner, saw a few shows. It was wonderful. But I took this book, didn't touch it. But both of these books I have finished since I talked to you last. So I read this one first, and did I tell you about this? I can't remember, but I loved this book. I may have already talked about it. It's been such a long time since I talked to you. I've forgotten. I love this book. It's super duper short. It is about I love my old ladies, and it's about an old lady she lives in England. She's well-to-do. Her husband was an ex-prime minister, and she was living the high life basically, but she was never super satisfied with it, which I think a lot of people have problems with. There's a lot of privilege in this book, and some of the reviews I've read were bothered by that. Not me, because I enjoy books where people are looking critically back on their lives. So it's her looking back on her life. It's a little bit, it's a little bit Virginia Woolfy style, not as much. When I read Mrs. Dalloway, I was completely flummoxed. I'm not sure I knew pretty much what I was reading while I was reading that book. So this has a very slightly similar style, but for me, much more comprehensible. And just I read it on my Kindle. Actually, I bought this book, but then I ended up reading it on my Kindle from the library. And I think my hold has expired. So all of my little highlights that I grabbed are they're on there, but I need to get the library book again because I forgot to write. I wanted to write some notes down in my journal because there were some paragraphs in here that I just absolutely loved. It was beautifully written. Just a wonderful, wonderful book about an old lady looking back on her life. I loved it. This might be my favorite read of the year so far. And then on the other end of the spectrum is the Star Trek Legacy. I also loved this. For a Star Trek book, and actually I shouldn't even say for a Star Trek book, it was just a very nicely written, interesting, fun book. You do need to have a little Star Trek knowledge because it does include Christopher Pike, he's living on Talos 4 in his altered state. I don't know what you would call it. The state of he's actually quite physically changed, but on the planet he sees himself the way he used to be, and he's a very minor player. I actually wish he had a little bit more to do with the story, but this is a story of Kirk and the Enterprise doing a mission on a planet they're just doing routine surveying. And of course, things do not go as planned. They get trapped on the planet, and while they're down there, the Enterprise gets called away on an urgent mission. So they have to leave the captain. And this was a really fun and enjoyable book. I really liked it. I got a little bit of a jump start on Book Trek 2026 because it starts in June for summer Star Trek reading. But I love to read Star Trek books when I'm on vacation. I think I'm gonna love to read Star Trek books, but then I don't end up reading anything. So I've read only these 2 books since I talked to you last. And actually, I think in May, this is the only one I've read. I think I finished this one in April. So, but really, really enjoyable, both of them. I am going on another vacation, you guys. My retirement year this year has been spectacular. I went to San Antonio with my sister. I went to Palm Springs. I went to Las Vegas. Next week, I'm going to Newport Beach to visit my uncle. And so I'm trying to decide. I'm going to take my Kindle. I've got a few books on my Kindle that I'm reading, so I might just keep up with something there. But I do like to take a physical book with me, and I'm deciding between these 2. Another Star Trek book, Chain of Attack by DeWeese. I don't know anything about this one, but these are all fun. These are all fun books. I really enjoy them. This one says, while mapping a series of gravitational anomalies, the Enterprise is suddenly hurled millions of light years through space into a distant galaxy of scorched and lifeless worlds. So that sounds fun. And these are always fun for just light pool reading, if I'm not just napping the whole time. But then I also thought I might do Brat Farrar by Josephine because I really do like Josephine Tey's writing style, and I love mysteries. So I might even take both of these with me. I don't know, because I do like to have some paper books with me just to, I don't know, as maybe a little security blanket. I don't know. Do you guys ever do that? So that is what is going to be upcoming. This is what I have finished. Not a lot, but the other thing I thought I would share with you is my little travel journal, because I've also been really loving this. I used to do just a travel journal, super duper casual, which I really enjoyed. And I liked this size, but it's almost a smidge too big to take with me. So what I was doing was just coming home and putting stuff in it. But a lot of times what I'd find is I'd just end up saving my receipts. So I'd just like have a page and I'd staple my receipts, which is fine because then I can look back and at least remember what we did. But I wanted something that I could actually take with me. I like to do a little daily plan, and this size was really good for that, but I wasn't really very good at keeping up with it. I do like keeping little memorabilia and ephemera. So this little paper republic, this thing has been working so well for me. I have been one of those people who always buys journals and never uses them, but this works. The size is perfect. I've got 2 inserts. I've got a little weekly planner with a week on one page and a dot on the other for just notes. And so I start my travel planning just by writing what I've got in here. But then I have a little travel journal, you guys, and I've been loving this so much. I just wanted to share it with you briefly because I had so many trips planned this year. So what I've been doing is just putting some stickies where I am noting the trip, if I've booked my travel, if I've got my flight booked, if I've got my rental car booked, if I need one, etc. And then what I'm doing is just putting those stickies on as sort of like dividers for that week. But what I really like doing is just a little daily plan. Isn't that cute? I just love this little notebook. And then behind the daily plan, putting some little ephemera. I did take this with me to Vegas, but I didn't actually write in it. And so I just did this. I didn't even write anything in it. I started my Newport Beach trip plan after that. But my plan is, and what I did in Palm Springs is I just every day wrote a little bit just to keep track of what I was doing, putting a little any ephemera in there that I wanted to keep. Super duper casual, but really fun to just be able to look back and see where I've been. Since I've been doing so many fun things in retirement, I wanted to keep track. I need to update my reading journal because I have not been good with these last 2 books. I've not put them in there yet. So I need to put those 2 in my reading journal. I mean, it's 2 books. It's not that complicated, but so that is on the plan. But yeah, so what are your plans? What are you reading? Do you have any fun summer vacations planned? Because I am loving my trip. After I get back from Newport, I've got a couple camping trips planned for the summer, and then I'm going to Walt Disney World in September for my sister's 50th birthday. 50. Oh, can't believe it. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, I just wanted to check in and say hi, and I will talk to you later. Bye.